the dog came charging again and bit my daughter. At that point, the scraps guy was here. He yelled at us to get in the house and call 911.
A vicious dog attack is changing the way Spokane police respond to those reports.
Why the department will dispatch an officer in some cases and how that's different from the past.
Enjoyed a beautiful Monday. We'll look for some sunshine tomorrow before the clouds move in. I've got rain in part of your work week forecast next.
Teachers at a local elementary school can't wait to take a break more than ever now.
The school district transformed the break room into an oasis.
We more surprised people with it, I think, when school started.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Mark Hanrahan.
Great to have you with us. I'm Jane McCarthy. Breaking in the last hour, Spokane County Sheriff's deputies are searching for an 11-year-old girl.
Cynthia Hernandez was last seen this morning on Woodruff Road walking to school. If you see her or know where she is at, you are urged to call Crime Check. That number is right there listed at the bottom of your screen.
I life-altering, not just scary, but I'm afraid to walk my new little dog, so.
Well, that moment she is describing came last month when her dog was viciously attacked by a neighbor's pit bull. At the time, she did not know to call, but she quickly found out Spokane Police Department wasn't sending officers to these attacks.
Since that day, Spokane police have now issued a new policy for situations involving an animal attack. KREM 2's Brandon Jones describes what those changes look like.
And he was pretty much my whole life.
On September 15th, Bonnie Ray made an unexpected call to 911 after her dog was brutally killed by a loose pit bull running through her neighborhood.
Making a bad situation worse is I found out the hard way that 911 was not the number to call.
Prior to that day, Scraps, the animal protection service in Spokane, was designated to calls that involved an animal attack. It took 35 minutes for them to arrive, and once they were there, the same pit bull that killed Bonnie's dog came back and bit her daughter. She called 911 again.
Their answer was that they could see on the computer that Scraps was already here and there was no reason to send anybody out.
That traumatic experience resulted in a new policy change in the Spokane Police Department.
In light of this recent event and a couple others, we think it's just going to be a little bit safer, a little bit more prudent to make sure that we get a commissioned officer out there in those kind of calls.
SPD says calls that go through separate entities like 911 are now more likely to be included in a police dispatch. As for Bonnie, she has a new dog, but she still thinks about that fatal day. That tragic accident happened just a couple feet away from Bonnie's front door, and the aftermath of it has caused her to be quite concerned when taking her new dog out. Every time she goes out, she feels like she has to look over her shoulder for her surroundings. Bonnie believes the new update could prevent something like this from happening again.
Next time an old lady calls 911 seeking assistance on a vicious dog attack, the 911 call will go right in the triage, they call it, you know, like any other 911 call.
In Spokane, Brandon Jones, KREM 2 News.
In other news, nearly 900 trees, or at least big parts of them, fell following last week's snowstorm. The city of Spokane just updated its numbers today. So right now, crews have cleared debris from about 600 different locations, and the city says crews will not go back through areas that they've already completed.
The city also says 450 tons of tree debris were brought in through Sunday. There was a free tree removal program where people could throw away tree branches at Spokane's waste-to-energy plant. And so many people were taking advantage of that program that some people waited in line for 3 hours. My goodness. Well, the weather is starting to improve after that unusual storm.
Meteorologist Tom Sherry in the Weather Center tonight with more on that. Hi, Tom.
Yeah, we're tracking clear skies overnight and again tomorrow morning, but we're probably going to see increasing clouds and becoming mostly cloudy by this time tomorrow night. 54 degrees. We've got ourselves a beautiful Monday evening to enjoy. Winds are calm. We'll look for an overnight low of about 34. So yeah, it does get chilly, but it should stay above freezing. We'll look for partly cloudy skies on your Tuesday. Slight chance of some late day showers, but I think that's pretty iffy. I think our best chance of rain really starts on Thursday and then will continue through the weekend. Saturday looks wet with a high of 49. A few lingering showers expected on Sunday. Also a daytime high of 49. We'll check your 10-day outlook coming up in a couple of minutes.
Sounds good, Tom. Thank you very much. Some breaking news out of Texas now. The Fort Worth police officer accused of shooting and killing a woman in her own home is being charged with murder. Aaron Dean was booked into jail today after he resigned from the police department. He shot Tatiana Jefferson early Saturday morning. Her neighbor called the non-emergency line after noticing Jefferson's front door was open. Body camera video shows Officer Dean walking around the back of the house. Jefferson was playing video games with her 8-year-old nephew at the time when Dean allegedly shot through the window.
And more breaking news. Fire authorities say a destructive fire that broke out near Los Angeles started under a high voltage transmission tower. Investigators have only determined where the fire started, not its cause. The fire has burned nearly 8,000 acres so far. It's also destroyed nearly 36 homes just in that fire. The power lines are owned by Southern California Edison.
Today is Spokane Public Schools' exclusion date for students who are not in compliance with the new MMR vaccine requirements. That means some students were not allowed at school today.
KREM 2's Amanda Rowley has an update on how many of those students missed class today.
Well, in total today, Spokane Public Schools had 323 students excluded from school because they did not have updated vaccine paperwork. And that's down from more than 900 students last week. And included in that total today, district spokesperson Brian Coddington says there are still just under 24 students claiming personal exemption, which state law no longer allows. He said they did have some tough conversations with parents today because of that, but he reminds the public that the district has been sending out notices to family since the school year last year. So what happens now? Well, Coddington says Spokane schools will follow standard practice of making homework available to students who are missing school. And in order for them to return, non-compliant students must show proof of compliance or claim a medical or religious exemption. Now, we've been checking in with other major school districts in Spokane County. One of those includes the Meade School District. It does not have a drop-dead exclusion date like Spokane, but at last check, the Meade District had 34 students without a required MMR exemption or immunization. As for the Central Valley School District, the spokesperson there says they do not have data on non-compliant students. Reporting in downtown Spokane, Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
Identity and algebra. It's an equation that is sparking conversation about Seattle Public Schools' new teaching guidelines.
The district is now incorporating ethnic studies into math class. Some think it's piling too much onto kids' academic plates. Others say it's an important step toward equality.
I really want my kid to be a part of the world. I don't want him to grow up thinking he's the center of it.
And so in some ways, students of color have always sort of like not felt a part of the community. And so I think frameworks like these are a way to help get them more involved in their own education and have a sense of belonging.
More historical examples of different ethnicities to the table.
They also want students to talk about issues facing different groups of people in the country.
It's a hard job, so I think taking care of yourself is so important, and it's one of the things I think educators forget to do.
Teachers at a local elementary school are bringing a new meaning to taking a lunch break. Logan Elementary in North Spokane now has a teacher's oasis.
KREM 2's Shayna Waldtower tells us how this renovated break room is giving these educators a better break.
Yeah, I feel like many of us already feel like we don't get enough of a lunch break, if we even get one at all. But if you worked at this school and had this break room, I think we'd all be wishing for an even longer lunch break and really be fishing for every minute we can out of that time.
We more surprised people with it, I think, when school started.
Are these teachers or HGTV decorators? A group of teachers at Logan Elementary spent part of their summer redesigning what once was just a traditional break room.
We just updated the staff room to make it a more calm, welcoming place for people to kind of come in and take a quick break, and it was set up a little bit more industrial.
Capco received a $1,500 grant and decided to pair up with her colleagues to create a space for teachers to relax in between classes.
There's times we have staff luncheons now and it's full and people are laughing and having fun, and so it's just a great place to come and kind of regroup.
The room features a natural sound machine, small exercise tools, and a spot to curl up and read for a bit.
I love that egg chair. They kind of come and cocoon up with a little bit of lighting, and instead of just sit at rows of tables on really uncomfortable chairs.
But the most comforting part of the room is what's called the Woot Woot Wall, where teachers can leave encouraging notes clipped under each other's names.
Take a walk through and peek and see if there's something under your star. It says, Penny, thank you for coming with me to support the 6th grade art girls at the Awards of Achievement Luncheon.
It'll make a 30-minute lunch fly by, but will leave teachers walking out with refreshed minds ready to continue the day.
It's a positive space, and I think that's not traditionally what some teacher lounges have been, so I think it's really, it did help with that a lot.
In Spokane, Shayna Waltower, KREM 2 News.